A couple weeks ago, Kambale, there was an attack on an IDP camp, a bombing on the city of Goma in eastern DRC, and is widely attributed to the M23 rebels. Tell us a little bit about what took place there, because it was a very shocking attack, and what it says about where the state of the conflict is right now.
Prior to the bombing, the M23 rebels, backed by Rwanda, which to an extent, not an extent, they are actually supported by the United States and the United Kingdom. These M23 militia group took over a town, a specific town called Rubaya. Rubaya is actually the capital of coltan, if I may say, right? If you have a cell phone, there's probably coltan in it. And the people who dig the coltan, where it comes from, mostly is in Rubaya. So them taking over the town of Rubaya caused also the Congolese army and the SADC partner, particularly the South African troops, to launch an attack. And in response to that attack, the M23 decided to shoot at civilians. Not just anywhere, they actually launched missiles into a refugee camp, right in Goma, in the neighborhood called Mungunga, and close to also the area where Lac Vert is. Lac Vert is the Green Lake in the eastern part. So they bombed intentionally the two refugee camps. The usual thing has happened. I mean, this is not the first time this has unfolded in the past 2 decades in DRC, where these Rwandan-backed militias, Uganda-backed militias, foreign actors are actually targeting civilians. And as usual, we get the condemnation, right? The United States condemned the attack directly, saying that Rwanda is backing the M23 and they should stop. France does the same. The United Nations does the same. Condemnations are happening, but over 40 people have lost their lives. And the videos are horrific because we were able to get the videos from partners that we have on the ground where you're seeing children dead. I mean, these are images that we are seeing right now. So at the same time, in Gaza, we are seeing our brothers and sisters in Palestine being killed the same way we are seeing what's happening in Goma, right? The images of the children in the refugee camp killed in Goma is the same as what I just saw a couple of days in Rafah. They bombed the building and children were there. And as usual, be it for Palestine or be it for DRC, condemnations are taking place. So what we are saying is we have passed the stage of condemnation, right? We are at the stage where actions has to be taken. And the action that we continue to push at the Center for Research on the DRC is not just to look at Western nations, who are launching condemnation and so on, because it's hypocrisy, right? They are behind the conflict in the DRC. We are calling more on African nations. How come up until now I have yet seen a condemnation from the AU for the attacks? At least I have not seen that come out. I've not seen most African countries even speak out about the killing of civilians in a refugee camp. This is a war crime, right? I'm not hearing ICC investigation on the bombing of refugees. And the death toll in DRC has reached over 6 million people. Yet there is no action. So there needs to be greater accountability for African leaders, for African institutions around the situation in the Congo. And we should be clear about why they're being killed. That's why I started to in explaining that when the rebels took over the area that has the coltan, Congolese bear the brunt by dying, right, through the missile that dropped. So there is a direct connection with the illicit trade, illicit exploitation of Congo's resources, and the effect that it has on the people. So you can't just talk about the bombing without actually pointing out that these militias went after coltan that is found in our electronic devices. And most of us will go ahead and start getting new phones the next day, believing what Tim Cook said, that they don't use any minerals coming from DRC, which is preposterous. It's impossible for Apple not using Congo's resources. And we are losing our lives in DRC, and we want it to end.